It's 7:50. 7:50? 7:50 on a Wednesday night. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television. You're watching First Warning Live, where we focus on all things weather. And because we get hungry from time to time, we're sponsored by Marco's Pizza, which, by the way, will be giving away free pizza. 22 pizzas will be going out in certificate form tomorrow night's live stream on Thursday. But I am talking about the story. Now, while everyone is zigging, I'm zagging, right? I'm not avoiding the snow aspect, which we're going to cover, but that's not the story. I'm sorry, it's not. It's the single-digit wind chill weekend that's ahead, and the polar plunge, whether you're diving into the water or not, maybe you're standing on the sideline watching someone that you love, because it is for a good cause. It's for the Special Olympics, and it is a News 3 sponsorship. I do want to mention this polar plunge will be harsh. Like, you kind of know when you're going to dip into the pool in February, it's going to be cold. But did you expect 23 to 26? Wait a second. I thought it was supposed to be 35. It will be in the morning. The afternoon, see, these temperatures are tumbling. What, nobody told you that? That's a bigger story for me than the wimpy flakes, which most of us won't see. And if you did get some, maybe you got a little bit of sleet because it's all gone now. Most of it. Expected winds? Oh, yes, just 20 to 35. What's 20 to 35 mile an hour winds among friends? That's why I tune into you, because you're like way ahead of everybody else. That's what I do. It's my thing. 40 to 45 gusts, and that brings the feels like temperature, survey says, 5 to 10. That can't possibly be right. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, yes. That's what I expect. Now, you might think that's a bunch of hubbubaloo, but I can prove with the data that once this secondary cold front comes in Friday night, and there'll be another little clipper to bring in some flurries, which, mark my words, they'll be hyping that up too. Just a couple flurries Friday night, but then you wake up. And let me show you this full screen. This is 11 o'clock Friday night, right? When the flakes might still be in the air. It feels like 26. But does it feel like 26 Saturday morning? No, it feels like 16. Unless you're in the peninsula, and it feels like 6. Well, that's a big difference, 6 and 16. I agree. But that's 7 o'clock in the morning. I thought the plunge is at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's always warmer in the afternoon. No, it's not. Not when you have a front coming through. That's the big story. Feels like -6 at 10 a.m. and a lonely 1 on the south side at 10 a.m. But thankfully, we're doing this at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And it feels like 5 to 10, I think, in Virginia Beach. Now, you tell me, for your information, that's not the most important story. That is the most important story. So if you're a 16 to 18-year-old, you want to be a forecaster, you zag when everyone else is zigzag, right? This is the most important story because I told you they didn't learn anything from this past weekend storm. They're hyping. This is the non-hyperventilation station. We don't do that. We don't do that here. But I'm telling you what, this is the winter weather advisory. The Weather Service is already discussing amongst themselves. We're probably going to have to reevaluate that by 9 o'clock tonight. But it's supposed to go to 4 in the morning. Well, they're going to reevaluate that before 9 o'clock. Wouldn't be surprised if they pull it from the 757. That's my suspicion, but that's what's in place. Now, if you look at the current conditions, who's got snow? I don't see any snow. I see rain in Elizabeth City. I see in Kitty Hawk. I see Hosky. I see Jackson. Everybody's got raindrops. So these are the METARs. These are the airport codes. So even Norfolk, Williamsburg, Wakefield, I don't see snow. Do you see snow? It's a nothing burger. I know the models wanted to suggest a little grazing of the air, but you can't peg Jello to the wall. But people get all excited about these little clipper systems. This didn't have the energy of what this past weekend storm had, or even the weekend before that when we had more sleet. Now, granted, we've had some Kempsville. We've had some reports of sleet tonight, and I'm going to show you that too. But if you're thinking that this is like the story of the night, I beg to differ. I think it's the weekend. And I've covered that, might even cover it again. But this is the real story. It's the secondary cold front that's going to come down. The winds are going to be just nasty when they come into town. I've already told you what I expect. And there's a little bit of snow in here, but you're going to get some downsloping off the mountains. And everybody wants to know how much snow. And the answer is yet to be determined. But I think it's just about as wimpy as tonight. And I'll say that, I'll be on record tonight to tell you, I think it's as wimpy as it is tonight. And if you're hoping that Friday night's going to be what saves you, You're going to be what we were talking about last night. Do you remember what we were talking about last night? We was talking about the not the price is right, but the snow is right. You can't get on stage if you overbid for the GFS model. If you overbid for the washer and dryer, you have no chance to go to the Showcase Showdown. You just can't. But that's the real deal. Whoosh! That's just going to rush in some nasty cold air. And then did I tell you we're going to actually get warmer again? By the time we get to next week, we'll be in the 50s by this time next week. Next Wednesday, a week from today, we'll be in the 50s. Mark your calendar. I'm excited about that too. But first things first, you got to get through this weekend, and then we'll start the warming process. It just takes a little bit more time for sure. All right, so just checking in with you. I want to see if you've got some comments. I got Stephanie. She was on here, I guess, 21 hours ago. She said she's on Team Snow. Oh, I forgot to change my. Oh, I like that too. It's a different way to present Stephanie's beautiful face there. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Glad to have you on board here, watching us live. Although this might have been posted a while back. Maybe I have to do this again. Let me see if I try this back. So do that again. Can I switch back? Do you like? I think we'll go back to this one. This was the Team Snow. But there's Stephanie. You can see her there. You can see more of the screen. Let's see here. Lynn Old giving a shout out to our TV station, WTKR. We're happy to have Lynn Old this year. By the way, if you want to grab a great item, any medium pizza that Marco's makes, you can have for $10.99. It doesn't matter if it has one topping, doesn't matter if it has two toppings, it can have all the toppings, $10.99 if you use the promo code tonight and right through Saturday of WTKR Sunny, $10.99. Very happy to have them as a sponsor. There are 6 locations that are participating in the free pizza giveaway, which is tomorrow, as well as the medium pizza for $10.99. There's 3 in Virginia Beach, 2 in Chesapeake, 1 in Hampton Boulevard in Norfolk. But I would encourage you to sign up. It doesn't take but a minute to 2 minutes of your time. All you have to do is once. But tomorrow on Thursday, we're going to be giving away free pizza for a year. And this certificate could have your name on it. You would receive it in the mail, U.S. Post Office, and because it's February, you would get one large one-topping pizza for the rest of the year for free, right through December of 2026, and one in 2027. 2027, January, that's hard to say. But that's where we're headed, right? Pozzolis, Magnificos. You can get the Magnifico, the medium here for $10.99. But I encourage you to satisfy your appetite. Go to our webpage, WTKR.com/Marcos. And if you want a Philly, a white cheesy, big cheese, or chicken fresco, or the works, this is what I think is the best deal. You get all these toppings for $10.99 on a medium. Sweet if you take advantage of it this week. All right, getting back to the weather, I also want to import some new comments because I got a 10-minute late start. I'll explain why. I had some come back on camera. I had some audio problems, right? Have you ever had it at your workplace or school where your computer just doesn't work when you want it to work and you have to do the reboot? Ding, ding, ding. That's what I did. So I was 10 minutes late for those who are watching live. If you watch it later in the hours of, afterwards, this won't really matter that I was 10 minutes late, but I wanted to explain to you I'm still here. Sometimes equipment and technology is great until it's not. You know what I mean? It's not always perfect, but you take what you get and you move forward from there. All right, I'm just importing some new comments from you. If you have something new that you'd like to share, this is a great opportunity. Maybe you want to talk about this weekend. Maybe if you are, I don't know, maybe are you taking the polar plunge? If you're taking the polar plunge, please let me know, because that would be cool. I would love to know if my forecast has you rethinking the layers that you're going to wear. I don't know. I got a note from our beautiful friend Eunice. Hi, Eunice. Great to see you. See, I want to give kudos to Eunice. She's figured out. She's got her beautiful close-up picture right here on the bottom right. And yeah, I'm able to import them, but I'm also able to proofread them. Sorry, trolls. But I'm able to proofread who writes what, and I'll put it on the screen. And I got a beautiful picture from Eunice Smith-Pepper. Hi there, right back at you. I hope maybe you'll take some advantages of the $10.99 medium pizzas at Marco's, Eunice, if you have, or if you're so inclined. But I'm going to keep moving. It's now 7:59. I got a little bit of a late start. Our lows, actually our current temperature, if I'm not mistaken, are 34. We were not 34 this morning. We were like 36. Yeah, our current temperature is 34. So this is essentially an 8 o'clock temperature, northeast at 8, and it feels like 28. So it's an upside down day in that respect. But we did hit 39. Many of our North Carolina neighborhoods did get in the 40s. Elizabeth City, you hit 44. Beautiful Edenton hit 48. That's where we were yesterday in Norfolk. 44 Nahaski, 44 Franklin, Suffolk, Chesapeake 45, and Gloucester, a little bit cooler, but still 37. Those were the high temperatures today. And we hit 39 degrees in Norfolk at precisely 11:09 this morning. So it came early. That's why I call it kind of an upside down day. And those days are really when you have a front that's coming through, or the winds change direction you can have, where it's warmer in the morning or around midnight and it's colder in the afternoon. So essentially that's what we've done today. We look at our current readings. It's 35 in Suffolk. It's beautiful because it's 8 o'clock straight up. We get hourly updates from the National Weather Service. We have 33 in Chesapeake right now. Hampton. Well, we did a Let's Talk Hampton conversation with our neighborhoods today with WTKR during the 4 and 5 and 6 o'clock newscasts. Hampton, you're currently at 35. Newport News also matching 35 degrees. 32 in Ahoskie, 36 in Moyock, and 35 in Smithfield. So that's the way things are. I want to show you the pictures. It looks pretty wet, right? You look at the 4 cameras here. I'm looking at Colonial Williamsburg. Some rain may have fallen, obviously, and still maybe in the Moyock area. Chesapeake's had some rain. Downtown Norfolk, we've had some rain, but a lot of it's beginning to pull away. So I wanted to start big, right? I know that this is why some of you tuned in. All you wanted to hear about was me talking about the snow. Well, I got news for you. It's not a snow story. I know they want to sell you that. Not me. No. So I can't be accused of hyping up something that wasn't hypeable. This was a clipper. So like this was not a storm. And some people, that's why they only issued a winter weather advisory, and now they're regretting it. They're like, well, let's pull that bad boy back. All right, so we've got rain and it's cold across parts of the Tar Heel State. Now, if we go in a little bit tighter, I'm going to show you what we're seeing. It looks like it's changing over to some sleet in some of our neighborhoods, from Suffolk to Chesapeake. Okay, yeah, you're going to see a little bit of a mix, and hence, that's the reason we have a winter weather advisory, I guess, but looks like a little bit of sleet near Conway. Do you know where Conway is? It's just around Rich Square. You know where that, a little bit of sleet. That's what I would suggest you're probably getting now. Looks like in Norfolk or Chesapeake, it could be maybe a hodgepodge of rain and sleet. But here's a little unknown secret. It's not a secret. It's very hard to go from a raindrop to a snowflake without some kind of transition. So if you're getting a cold rain and it's trying to get to a snowflake, but doesn't quite pull up the chin up bar, it doesn't quite get to that level, you might get some sleet. And if I could show you this, I'll go back on camera here because I think it's worth noting. If I rewind the last couple of hours, we had about 5:30. Somebody had posted that they were getting sleet in Virginia Beach. Let me show you what that looks like on the radar. Look at Virginia Beach. I'm rewinding the tape, by the way, right there, around 6:20. See what I'm saying? You get this little purple color. There's like, well, what is that? It's a mix. It may be sleet. It could be rain. It could be a combination of rain, snow, and sleet. But that's what we were having at 6:21 this evening. Is that enough to close schools around here? I don't know. I really don't. I think people are going to rethink that this was also another opportunity where I'll say this again. I don't think the lessons we learned this past weekend were learned. I don't. Because the National Weather Service, as of yesterday afternoon, was putting out 1 to 2 inches of snow for Norfolk. I thought this was a bunch of hooey because we didn't barely have 2 inches from Veterans Day through the first weekend of January. This was just too much. And of course, other stations ran with it, and I said, that's a bunch of hooey. And I even said during the live stream yesterday, I said, I don't think people are learning their lessons. They're going high, right? You get to that Price is Right floor, and you want to bid at like 24,000, 24 inches of snow. No, you're overbid. Who gets on stage? The person goes, 1 inch, $1, Bob Barker or Drew Carey, and then they bring you up on the stage. It's a big deal, right? And sometimes when you're at the foot of the stage, you turn around, you ask your family, what should I do? What should I do? But it's up to you to make that decision. So that decision is mine. I'm telling you, this was not a big deal. And that was 6:21. If you look at where we are now, look where all the snow went. There was no snow. It pulled away, right? Norfolk's like, what's going on here? Now we're getting a little bit of a raindrop, maybe a few snowflakes trying to come into Chesapeake. But even that, too, is going to fade away quick. So if you need more evidence, if you like, I just need evidence, I just want to see the models. I'll show you the models. I will show you the models. But you're not going to be impressed. Some of you are like, is that it? That's it. I tried to tell you last night, but for those of you who don't know my style is to be accurate, right? And to be measured. And the graph model shows a bunch of zeros for accumulation. Oh, I wish they had told us that. No, they were telling you 1 to 2, right? Come on. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And maybe a little bit of a dusting in Bertie County. That's just one model. Now the latest GFS, actually this is graph model, I believe we just showed this. Oh, I think I skip ahead. Oh no, I want to go back to this. So we have the graph model. That's what this is. So this model is going to show us the zeros, right? This is the same exact solution. The model that's called graph is going to show the zero output. Well, maybe a flake in Norfolk at 10. That's no big deal. Look at it, 12 midnight, still waiting. I thought it was going to get bad at 2 a.m. Nope, swing and a miss. A husky might have a flake around 2 o'clock in the morning. And to be fair, there could be some mixture around Edenton. I don't want to discount the mix because there's always a little bit of sleet in there. That's 4 o'clock in the morning. But it's not going to affect your morning commute in Virginia Beach or Norfolk or Newport News or Hampton. It's just not. I mean, you're looking at North Carolina by 6 a.m., I see sunshine popping out in Norfolk once the sun comes up tomorrow at 7:03. But there's still a little bit of a mix down here near the Albemarle. Not to discount the fact that you're going to get something, but you're not going to need a shovel. Tonight you need an umbrella. Let me be clear. Tonight you do not need a shovel or even a brush. You need an umbrella. That's all I'm saying. And as I look over my shoulder, I think CBS is showing Price is Right. How ironic. How ironic. All right, now, 8 o'clock. I'll go through the rest of it. Surely it's going to happen at noon tomorrow. No, it's not. It's all done. That's it. So nothing to see here. I was not telling you you would see anything. And then we're going to get another one that's going to have you hyped up on Friday night. It'll be the next Clipper system, and that will usher in the Arctic cold. I mean, bone-chilling cold for the weekend. I have it still down to 14 degrees on Sunday morning. And there's the snow. The graph model thinks it's going to be really snowing in Richmond about 4 in the afternoon on Friday. But I have a suspicion there'll be some strong downsloping and it'll all dry up. So if you weren't impressed with tonight, mark my words, you won't be impressed with Friday's snow. Repeat, if you're not impressed with tonight's snow, and I don't think anyone with the sound of my voice is, then you're not going to be impressed with Friday night snow. But you will be shocked about how cold it feels once you get out the door on Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning. But this would suggest we got a few flakes. Oh, it's exciting. It's snowing in Exmoor at 8 o'clock on Friday, and then it gets real cold again. All right, it's time now to just revisit the models, and then I want to hear from you. Because I know some of you are like, oh, I just believe the models. I worship the models. The models are nothing. They're nothing. Show 0, 0, 0. Maybe a half-inch falls in inland North Carolina. This is the glorious GFS that is adored and worshipped by many in the weather community, sadly. But it's what they suggest. It's about 0.5 to 0.7. No ones and twos here. There are no ones and twosies here, right? We can cross that out. I never thought we would. And yet, some people need to learn the hard way. Snow forecast, European. The other ones that people love to worship. 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. That may be what falls from the sky, but you're not going to have anything left over. And if you remember what I said, if you're a 16, 18-year-old, I said it's all about the BOP, the balance of probabilities. This one outlier wants to put 1 or 2 inches here, but if you take it in the ensemble approach of all the other models, this one's a bunch of hooey. So what do you do then? What do you do then? Well, let's talk about the headlines. Winter weather advisory likely to go away tonight. Rain, wet snow, and mix. We got some of that on the board. But again, an umbrella will go way farther than a shovel. Still chilly, highs in the temps in the 30s, and even colder weekend, single-digit wind chills. If you've got a comment, this is a great time to say hi. I got Alexander. Okay, flurries in Norview. Thank you for that update. Appreciate that, Alexander. Flurries does not require a snow shovel. We all agree. I think we do. Mike Hicks says hello. I think he's reading his book. He's excited, or maybe he's not excited. He's kind of curious. How did this conversation evolve? I don't know, but I do like the fact that you've attached a funny little picture there of someone reading. I like that. I like that. It's kind of creative. I like a good emoji, and I also like a good avatar. Who else have I got here? Let's see. If someone's laughing, maybe it's Amy. Is Amy on here? Amy's on here. She's got this laughing smiley face. Thank you, Amy Thompson, for being here. Let's see. Joshua Griffin is here. He says he's thinking about doing the plunge. You should do it. Joshua, we got Kurt Williams. He's going to do the plunge. He's done it before, and when he did it, the video that I saw, he's wearing a Superman's cape. Now, nobody deserves to wear a Superman cape more than Kurt, but he said that was kind of like a drag in the ocean, like when you're trying to come out of the water. I could see that, but maybe I could convince Kurt to get a wetsuit, because I took all those pictures on Monday of the neighborhood in Virginia Beach. We have a surfing neighborhood. The surfers were out there in the 30s. They're surfing, they were in wetsuits, He thought that would be cheating. I don't think it's cheating if you preserve your warmth, right? You got to stay warm this Saturday and this Sunday for sure, because that's the bigger story. Single-digit wind chill weekend. My goodness. Let's get you through, though, tonight. Yeah, you need an umbrella. Tomorrow, some wet flakes may linger in spots here in around maybe North Carolina. Sun's up at 7:03. I think we're headed back to 35. Again, we're right now at 34, so we're not going to be much warmer than we are right now. But mostly cloudy. If we get winds gusting to 25, that wouldn't surprise me. It's 10 after 8. Temperature trend really does not look like it shows much change, right? The normal high now, and again, that normal just is a 30-year average, is in the 30s for the next 5 days. But there is, and I should have put in here, I think I did on my other graphic, 35 is falling. This is a high because it's an upside down day. It's going to happen somewhere between midnight, I'll put an MID, midnight and say 5 a.m. It's going to depend on the track and timing of the front. But I would say it's a midnight to 5 a.m. high temperature, but we're going to be in that 23 to 26 range, I think, by the time the plunge takes place at 1 in the afternoon. Now, to be fair, I'm going to be there. Now, this is your opportunity to come out and say whatever you think about me to my face at the heated tent. I mean, I can take it. If you think my forecasts have been off the mark, tell me. But oftentimes people will troll you online, and then they wouldn't do that, dare come up to you. But I'll greet you. Everybody is welcome here. Let me repeat, everybody is welcome here. I'm simply trying to set a standard where winter forecasting has its inherent challenges, and you can't overbid. And I use the Price is Right as a vehicle to kind of get my point across. You don't want to overstate it and then have to dial it back. They did it with the 1 to 2 inches, in my opinion. I thought it was too much. And now they're probably going to say, well, let's pull the plug. And schools have reacted already. Maybe they have schools snow days. They've got to burn them, use them, or lose them. I don't know. It's not my call. But I can tell you the call for the next 5 days is extremely cold. And those cold days are going to be felt. Sure, there's a chance of some snow on Friday night. Even the ones and drops that we get tomorrow morning will be in North Carolina. So the 20% here is mainly NC. I'll put North Carolina. This is going to be late on Friday. It's a TE. My telestrating writing skills are poor. The 10% could be in the Outer Banks. Outer Banks for a 10% snowflake Saturday morning, because that front's going to come down. And then on Sunday, it could be just a random flake. And I think Monday itself is clouds. Actually, that should be probably 0. But clouds to sunshine. I do think Monday is actually dry. And I'll have to fix that if I haven't already on my 7-day. Here's the upper air pattern. You need graphical support. Let me show you. This is it. This is it. Wednesday. That's where we are now. By the time we get to Friday, it's colder. But I want you to look at this real closely. Even if you aren't a weather person, you can see that the blue color represents cold, but the really nasty cold is purple. So that's Friday. Watch as I move this map, just 1 or 2 more frames. Boom! That's Saturday morning, right? And then it's boom! It comes all the way down by Sunday morning. We're down to about 14. That's a really cold air mass. It's like the Polar Express. It's coming down to a neighborhood near you, and you're going to have to be prepared. It will bounce back, but then we're back into the 40s on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, I think we're going to be well into the 50s. This could be like, they could easily be in the 60s in Atlanta and parts of South Georgia. 70s would be possible in Tallahassee. I mean, this is going to be like, whoa, but it won't last. It'll change, it'll move, it'll change again. And while I'm on this subject, the latest temperature analysis, this is not a forecast, this is actual observation, at 10 or 11 miles up in the sky in the stratosphere, you have 2 areas here that it's almost like it's like a ring around the rosy. Let me see if I can suggest here. So you kind of move this along like this. This will come down like this. So warm air rises, cold air sinks. There will still be some very cold air coming down across the Great Lakes. But if you notice, Virginia and North Carolina are down here. My concern when I look at this, and it is a very legitimate concern, no one's going to tell you that on the 4th of February, is that we'll have an early start to the severe weather season. Because all the humid air from the Gulf, you get warm air clashing with cold air, you're going to get ring around the rosy cold air clashing with warm air. I think you're going to get an early start to the severe weather season. This would represent around March the 4th, because this says February 4th. So as I look at this ring around the rosy, yeah, we're still going to get some nasty cold air. It won't be as cold for us, but it will be cold for our New England neighbors to the north. I think this could be a sign that we could start severe weather season early. Now, who else is going to tell you that? Well, that's why we do this. This is first warning. I'm giving you my expectations, just like I did on Halloween. That week, I said I think we get our early start to the snow. We did. Veterans Day, we got our first snow in the pre-dawn hours. But the upper air pattern really is telling, because it is going to bounce. The cold air will not linger past a certain point. You can see it just plunging down. Huge connection. If you're a weather nerd like me, all that cold air is just like a pipeline, right? It comes straight down into the 757, and that's going to be Friday night into, say, Saturday. So it's going to be, you're going to feel it if you're outside and you're in a bathing suit or a wetsuit trying to take a polar plunge. So just caution to the wind, and there will be plenty of wind as well. Just checking in with you. Let's see here. Amy is on here. She says, I hear you. Glad to see you, Amy. Amy, I hope you win some pizza tomorrow. I'm going to be getting those winners on Thursday, so we'll put those pizza winners from Marco's on tomorrow. Somebody who's never been to Marco's might enjoy that. So I got a note from Aaron. Aaron is also saying hi. Aaron, great to see you. He says, thanks for your weathercast and humor. My pleasure. I just know you can't take life too seriously. You can't take yourself too seriously. But when you realize that people hang and hang on your every word, this is another lesson for the next paying it forward. The 16 to 18-year-old kid out there who wants to do weather, just know that when you're in this position, they're hanging on your every word, right? There's the polar plunge a couple weekends ago. We have we had the boat show. We have these Jurassic Quest things, dinosaurs at the Hampton Roads Convention Center last weekend or weekend before. So when people economically are putting their money on a certain weekend, if you're ramping up stuff just because you're a weather nerd, that's not how it's to work. You really have to start low and bid higher as necessary. So anyway, snow, not the story. To me, it's the weekend. And then everybody will play catch up. That'll be everybody's story tomorrow. And you will have heard it here first. 39 was the high today. If it's worth noting, it was 82 degrees 136 years ago in 1890. Well, that's comforting. But we've had 4 straight days in February below normal, 4 days below normal. And I do want to mention on this rain front, I think that's my next graphic. Did you know that February is the driest month of the year? Ooh, I got some notes. I take notes. So 2.90, we've had a trace as of 5 o'clock today at Norfolk International. But it is interesting to note we've had a dry stretch at the end of 2025. We ended 2025 negative 6.62 inches. Let me say that again, negative 6.62. That's 6.5 inches on the deficit. And so far this year, we're running negative 2.02, 2 inches below. So put those together, you're about 8.5 inches in the hole. We're going to get a new drought monitor from NOAA tomorrow, but we're just about a month, maybe 2 months from the growing season, the start of it. I'm kind of curious what farmers and landscapers and green thumb and landscapers and gardeners are thinking, but this is typically a dry month. You kind of want more water as you get into the growing season, and we'll get plenty of that. The soggiest month typically is July and August when you get some of those thunderstorms. They do skew the averages a little bit higher. But Norfolk normal rainfall, only 2.90. Of course, we're coming up now, 15 days away from that anniversary snow, that when we got 10.2 inches of snow on February 19th, 2025. That is coming up, the anniversary anyway, in about 15 days. Temperature forecast, if you pick out your favorite area or neighborhood, peninsula, eastern shore, by 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. This is not a projection of a wind chill. This is assuming what the temperature could or might be in your neighborhood. So inland North Carolina, about 30. We're not going to move much tomorrow. We'll get about 35. 35 there at 3, and that's about it, right? This is about all we're going to muster. By the way, if you haven't downloaded the free First Warning Weather app, there's another free item. Grab it. It's free, whether it's the App Store, Google Play. I always encourage people to make the investment in having a NOAA weather radio. I've never met anyone who bought a NOAA weather radio and thought, well, that was a lousy purchase. No, it's a great purchase, because in times where your battery dies on your phone, you have a battery backup on your NOAA weather radio. Being in the know, even while you sleep, can be life-saving, especially when tornadoes and severe thunderstorm warnings are happening. It's good to have multiple sources. That's why I always promote multiple. I promote our stations app, but I also think it's important to have several ways to get the information. Now, if you look at the country as a whole and you're in the military, there's not a lot going on in California, Texas, or even Michigan at this hour. Surely, I do see some snow trying to drop down from Canada, if I have that right. Looks like it's in northern parts of Minnesota. Maybe around Fargo few flurries there. If we come back down towards Chicagoland, it's quiet. Detroit's quiet tonight. Buffalo, I got some Tug Hill Plateau. You see that? That's lake effect. That is 100%. I used to work in Rochester. But Oswego, we talked about Brian Donegan the last 2 nights, but that's where he went to school. It was SUNY Oswego, State University of New York of Oswego. And they average, I think I told everybody, but if you didn't catch those, they average about 140 inches a year in Oswego. So if you live by the lake, you get snowed by the lake, and that's just the way it goes. Rochester averages about 100, and Syracuse averages, I think, 128 was what I was reading. So it's a little higher in Syracuse because they're downwind of Lake Ontario. But there's clearly some snow around the Tug Hill Plateau at this hour. I'm also looking at the snowstorm, supposedly. So how about a rainmaker down across our region? I zoomed into my home state of Delaware there. Yeah, it looks like some snow around Roanoke. Roanoke's got some flurries. But as we saw from the graph model, there's not a whole lot of that's going to stick around. Most of the moisture is working its way out to sea, and it's slim pickings. So, like I said, you're better off with an umbrella than a snow shovel. That's why I kept saying it's nuisance flakes. Here's something you'll learn about me. I am less likely. I hate making a snow map for something that's a ½ inch or less, right? You would never do that with scattered rain showers in the summer. And so this is who's going to get the rain shower. Well, it just might be that town, or it might be this community, might be that neighborhood, might be that a city. So it just depends. But when it's just like a little scattered shower, it's no big deal. And I didn't think it would be, and I can almost assure you, I can assure you Friday will also be pretty much a nothing burger. But you can see that Friday coming down. Looking at Minneapolis, Chicago, watch as this next system comes down on Friday. It comes right into West Virginia. But there will be a downsloping wind that gets off of Harrisonburg, JMU, and Roanoke, and it could go poof as it comes into Virginia Beach. So I don't think you'll have a lot of moisture to work with. Flurries and light snow showers, yes, but you can see this takes you right through Valentine's Day. We'll have some rain opportunities. We'll have maybe some snow in northern Virginia, but rain more likely in, looks like a rainy Valentine's Day for Knoxville, Tennessee, based on this particular map here. Temperatures right now 34 in Portsmouth, 33 Chesapeake. We covered this already, so I'll skip over some of the duplication. But I can tell you it's 25 in Beckley, and they're in the teens right now, Indianapolis, Columbus, and Pittsburgh. So there's a very cold stretch to our north and west, while they're still in the 50s, believe it or not, in Columbia, South Carolina. It's now 8:22. You can clearly see this cold in purple. It's a little trough, and they are in the 80s and 70s out west. That's kind of nice. LA is 75. Phoenix, I don't know if you could transport yourself to any one of these towns where you would go, but I would imagine it might be someplace warmer. Even Houston, Texas right now is at 57 degrees. You got some other comments? I want to say hi. Taj Brown is on there. He says, howdy. Howdy there, y'all. Glad to have Taj here. Glad to have Lynn Old here. I got all my favorite commenters, because everyone who leaves comments, I do try to put you on the screen as much as I can. Let's see here. Mike Hicks, he's either joking. He says, so if it snows next Wednesday instead of 50 degrees, we can blame it. Of course. Of course. But if you actually knew how much time I look at this stuff and how long I've been doing it, 27 years, you have to have some confidence. I've had a series of nicknames in my career. I had a nickname when I was in Philadelphia. I had a new nickname when I got to Tennessee. I don't give myself these names, but because I have events like this one where I outshine the others, then they go, that's the nickname for him. So you'll have to ask the Tennessee people what they call me. But if you ask Brian Donegan, who was in South Jersey, they had a completely weird name for me called the Slizzard King. I know, see, what's a slizzard? Everybody in Philadelphia in 2008 thought we were getting a big blizzard. And we had the winds, and everybody was expecting snow, and I said no. We're getting it. I said it's not going to be snow. I said it's going to be sleet. And so I kept saying on the My Fox Philly blog, I said it's going to be sleet, it's going to be sleet. And so suddenly they got a slizzard. See how they did? A slizzard. So Slizzard King came on my nickname on. It was like my new handle. For the longest time I embraced it, but then I left Philly and went to Knoxville, and I got a different nickname. So that's how weather works if you're 16 to 18. If you do well and study and look at not everything, but have some good teachers and mentors. I stand on the shoulders of very smart people. There's no doubt about that. 56 in Tallahassee, 75 in LA, and 26 in St. Louis. Our dew points are coming up now at 30, 33, but very, very dry in Pittsburgh, Columbus, 16 in Louisville. I do have strong expectations of warmer weather by mid next week. You'll feel it on Tuesday, but really feel it on Wednesday, and you can see the differences in the colors. Look at how this kind of starts to change, where we have some cold air, but not as Arctic white here. Like usually when we're at this stage of the calendar, which is going to be February 14th, probably going to be a lot of rain in Tennessee. There'll be a lot of rain in Virginia Beach, but there will probably be more of a mix in West Virginia, maybe some snow in Pennsylvania at this point. But you notice the really cold air up in the white areas, it's absent. There's a little bit in here, but it would suggest that that's not as cold as it was. Now, if you are planning, this is my public service announcement to all guys out there who are attached or want to be attached. Valentine's Day is coming up. Whatever you make of it, that's you do what you need to do. But I was thanked on the air tonight publicly by Jessica Larche. Jessica Larche, our anchor, was like, thank you for mentioning Valentine's Day, because my husband's watching and she was just happy I was mentioning Valentine's Day, because now you have, 10 days to figure out how do I get the best reservation? How do I get the best idea creative? But the really warm air is going to be in the center of the country, and the cold air, as you can see, is beginning to show signs of retreat. And that's a good sign as we get closer to the growing season down into April, if not late March. But at least, or even May, some people wait till Mother's Day before that last frost to really get going. 38 Saxes, 37 Bloxham. I'm expecting Exmoor at 37 tomorrow. 34 Cape Charles, you'll find more clouds, a little bit of sunshine, particularly in the afternoon, but a mainly gray sky for Kill Devil Hills and Nag's Head. 38 for Duck, 39 for Manio on Thursday afternoon. We slide down towards, say, Hatteras. They have a better chance of seeing temperatures in the 40s, about 41 in Ocracoke, 42 there. So we've already covered the graph model. If you're just joining us, this is a nothing burger. That's a nothing. I don't have any expectation. I mean, you could see some snow. You're just not going to get some snow. Are we all on the same page? He said, I'm going to see some snow. Well, you got to be up, I guess, at the Hosky at 4 in the morning to see it. But otherwise, there it goes. Easy snow, easy go. That's where it's going to be. And then it's going to be moving out of the picture, even around dusk, probably before 8 o'clock in the morning. And then you can see a little bit of breaks in the overcast in places like Isle of Wight, Surrey, Sussex, Matthews, Gloucester, Yorktown at noon. You'll see some sun likely if this verifies, but more clouds for Duck and also Redanthe. And then by 4 o'clock, it's pretty much the same. And then it breaks up a bit tomorrow night. And then we do it all over again on Friday, more sunshine to start the afternoon, but then we get another clipper system, which I think once we get closer, the models will readjust. I don't think it'll even be that much snow. I think it's going to be a bunch of hooey. It'll come in with very little fanfare, but the cold air is the real deal. That will, in fact, be what everybody remembers. So if you remember what the start of this live stream, I said the story was the polar plunge. It's not tonight's snow, and it's not even Friday night snow. It's this Arctic blast where you feel like, gracious me, is it really that cold outside? It's single-digit weekend, at least the wind chill, single-digit wind chill weekend. Say that 10 times fast. 26 peninsulas, 28 North Carolina might have a mix in the morning when you wake up, but 29 Hampton is what I expect your low will be. Suffolk, 29, Edenton, 31, Ahoskie, about 29. 23 for Melfa, 34 for Corolla, and Hertford about 31 degrees. By the afternoon, we may see more sunshine in the south side, maybe even the peninsulas, but generally 30s across the board. 34 Cape Charles, Duck 38, and 37 for Windsor in Bertie County. Cortland, Smithfield 37, Newport News at 36. There it is. Delaying no further. Here is at 8:30, because I got a 10-minute late start. Here's your first warning, WTKR News 3 7-day forecast. So wet flakes early for our North Carolina friends and neighbors, 35, 39, and there's that arrow, right? I was just wanting to emphasize 35 is misleading because it's not coming in the afternoon. It'll come somewhere between midnight and 5 a.m., most likely. And I did update my 7-day. I don't have any precip. I have clouds to sunshine on Monday, so we'll finish sunny, but there will be some morning clouds. And then look at this. I mean, if all you looked at was 46 and 54, I don't fault you, but you got to get through these 2 days, right? These 2 days are going to tax you. They're going to wear you down. And if you haven't, or if you accidentally put away your warmest coat, you may very well be reaching for that warm coat before Friday night is done. Just checking in with you. If you got other notes, I got a note from Marilyn Bell. She says, hello. I want to say hi to Marilyn. She's been following me in Tennessee for a long time now. She says, next time, almost 60 here, hoping for that. I think a lot of folks are hoping for some warmer weather, but thank you, Marilyn, for watching us live. I do appreciate that very much. Kim Thompson-Jones, also very complimentary. Thank you much. You do an amazing job. Thank you. Again, I'm going to be in the warm tent with all of my fellow News 3 coworkers who want to brave the elements. Kurt Williams, our news anchor, who's been here now almost 39 years, he's going to take the polar plunge, and I'm going to cheer him on because I think he needs some support. I'm sure his wife will be there. Everybody will be cheering Kurt on. But I figured as his personal consultant for meteorology and weather, I'll guide him as best I can. But once he knows how windy it's going to be, he might be thinking wetsuit. Maybe I can talk him into buying or renting a wetsuit just for Saturday. That would be something else. We'll see. But anyway, just in case you want to catch some of the happy shots, I got some of these. We're in Hampton tonight for our Let's Talk session. We talk to our neighbors, find out what Hampton stories would you like us to cover, so we can take a more listening posture. We did that tonight. Derek Getter was there. Of course, we had Coulter Anstead, of course, Kurt Williams. But Fort Monroe, this is some wind-driven icicles from Jack Carpenter, very, very artistic. Got another beautiful picture from Brenda Davis from Gloucester Point. This was taken Tuesday. Look at the birds there. It's beautiful. Very artistic photo. Brenda, thank you for sharing that with us. And lastly, we'll end with the Hampton sunset from Bradley Fullwood, who I understand, he introduced himself to Derek Getter, forecaster Derek Getter, one of our members of our weather team. He came up and said hello to her and introduced himself tonight. So very thankful for that, and I'm glad I had his picture. Made it even better, even better. But if you're still concerned about the snow, I ask you, where is it? Where is it? Was it west of I-95? Yeah, it's just flakes. A few flurries there. And the rain is still raining around Hatteras, Wanchese, Manio, and Duck. And most of it's just a cold rain. But you could get some icy sleet pellets. It'll be interesting to see if they do pull the winter weather advisory a little bit early. They said they would be revisiting it around 9 o'clock Eastern time tonight. So anyway, at least you're in the know as best I can give it to you. Anyway, just remember, it doesn't matter. Oh, did I mention? I have to mention this again. I want to mention that. If you're hungry tonight, make sure you grab a medium pizza. And it doesn't have to just be the Hot Honey Magnifico. The WTKR Sunny promo code that you see on this screen will get you a $10.99 Mike's Hot Honey, but it will also get you any medium pizza. That was what I was really floored by. I said, "Are you sure about that, Marcos?" And they said, "Yeah, we'll do any medium pizza." So you can put as many toppings as you want for the same price of $10.99. I mean, telling you what, there's some deals when you watch this program or watch this live stream. 3 in Virginia Beach. These are the stores that will do this for you. Chesapeake, 2 of them. We have a new one. They have a new one, rather, at South Battlefield near Great Bridge Middle School, and the one on Norfolk, in Norfolk on Hampton Boulevard. But I'm also eager to share with you the winners. We've got some winners tomorrow. We're going to give away 22 pizzas. That means one person will get 12 pizzas for the entire year. That's 1 large, 1 topping for free. And then we're going to give 12 individual pizzas away. I love being able to do this because we can throw out some extra pizzas for the people who've never had a Marcos. This will be your chance to try it when the certificate comes in the mail. We've had a lot of people. We've given away hundreds of these things since May. We've been live streaming now, been doing this, hard to believe, but since May of 2025. Well, just remember, it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or serious. If it's cold rain, a little bit of sleet, touch of snow, and then it's going to go back to just being cold, it's okay. Just make the most of it. Because remember, every day is a gift. You can't change yesterday. I've learned that the hard way. But you can change tomorrow. And tomorrow is Thursday. Think of all the opportunities. You can help your neighbor. You can check out. We were talking about shoveling their driveway for grandma in the neighborhood. I'm sure they'd appreciate it. And they would probably appreciate it very much. So anyway, find some opportunities to make the best of it in your neighborhood. And we'll see you tomorrow with some pizza winners. Take care.